Yeah, so when we're conducting financial investigations, there's clearly a number of different skills that we need to bring to that investigation. First and perhaps most obviously is our accounting expertise. If it's a financial investigation, we need team members that have got the skills to analyse and understand the books and records of the company and how transactions may have been recorded, how they may have been concealed, and ultimately be able to communicate with the finance staff to make sure that we've got all the evidence that we need from a financial perspective. Then there's always a crucial technology, component to investigations as well.
In the old days, we conduct investigation, manually, but now lots of evidence are contained in computer, in server, in cloud. Basically, your day-to-day work, like you are using your mobile, is already a piece of technology. I think the most important part of using technology is to save your costs in conducting an investigation, and it's more efficient to secure your evidence.
A company's own internal records never tell you the whole story. They never tell you the whole story about who did what. Very often the paperwork tells you that certain people in your organisation are doing this or that, but in fact they're not. They're doing something else.
You might also be looking for what's not there. What have they done off the books and records of this company? What other bank accounts have they got set up? What other offshore entities are they using to conduct some of this activity? So it can make it a lot harder to find that activity in those situations as well.
And I think it's very important to bear in mind that corruption does not have very concrete evidence. It is a very challenging piece of litigation to do, and it's actually very human as well at the same time.
And the only way that you can find out what they're really doing is through human investigation, through very clever interviews, and through gathering information outside of the company itself about those people and their activities.
There is a duty now on particularly respectable corporations to have in place anti-corruption measures to ensure compliance with what are now international standards. It's almost impossible to ensure that any corrupt practice is going to remain secret. There is an encouragement in people to whistleblow.
A good governance system should contain a mechanism for staff to report suspicious activity. And that is good because no one would know better than in-house staff. If they smell something, they should be encouraged to report.
Companies must know the background, the character and the past behaviour of the people they employ. The third parties they work with, their distributors, their suppliers, their agents, all of these third parties and so on, their partners. They must know this background. They must also regularly check what's going on inside their organisation. So a strong internal audit function, internal controls, corporate health checks, not just by their own internal departments, but also by third parties who are independent. These things are very important to protect the organisation from corruption and to nip it in the bud.
Well, I think senior executives should actually keep a very clear tone to talk the talk and to walk the talk as well, that corruption is not tolerated and it's one strike you're out. I think this sets a very strong tone, but it helps employees to understand what is the practice or the requirement of the company.
But above all, if the tone is not set from the top down, then everything will go rotten very quickly.
Criminal, they don't have borders, they don't have ethics, they don't have rules to comply. They just look for loopholes. So maybe it's time to wake up for business leader to consider these zero tolerance policies to be implemented in-house, and to tell internal staff, this is our stand, this is our attitude.
The days when people turned a blind eye to expensive presents, large sums of cash as some sort of reward, those days are over. Not only in this jurisdiction, but even in China and even in other regions within Asia. Corruption is seen as something that is to be eradicated.